Taxi's here, and we are off to China. Welcome back, Jack. I'm Adrian, and this channel is about me talking about watches, drinking coffee, chatting with you guys. And today's video is going to be slightly different. Still going to be the normal Q&A. I am going to do Q&A, but I'm on my way to China. And right now I'm in the Emirates first class business lounge at Glasgow Airport. And Archie, I'm not trying to steal your thunder with your luxury lifestyle stuff. I haven't paid for this. This has been a paid for trip. I can't divulge in this video what this trip's about, but in maybe the next video I'll be able to talk about what's happening in this trip. This first class lounge is absolutely nuts. I've kind of been given a glimpse into how the other half live. There's a water feature, there's free, I've just had a whole steak dinner. There's loads of alcohol, it's not even a bar, it's just a drink cabinet just out for you to have. Coffee, fairly decent coffee actually, and some champagne, because it's free champagne and it's free, so cheers. So this is the third episode of the Q&A sessions, where I post a story on Instagram asking people to ask questions about anything, literally anything. And so let's crack on with it. If you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button down there. It helps you grow the channel. Hit the little bell icon because it helps you get notifications when I drop new videos. And there's going to be something really interesting dropping very, very soon. So Paolo_Sanchioni, sorry if I cocked that name up. Opinions on Teddy's movement documentary. I thought Teddy's movement documentary was absolutely superb. I really enjoyed how he kept pushing the part around Alibaba, all that sort of stuff. I enjoyed the amount of work that he put into it. That was really very cool. I also, apparently there's some comments around it being overproduced. I don't think it was overproduced in the slightest. It's certainly, there is a difference between YouTube and TV. I don't think it is to the level of something that could go onto TV. That is no disrespect to Teddy and the production, but I don't think it was overproduced in the slightest. It was a capture of information and a moment, and it was edited to share that. Sure, there are things cut out, but you have to when you do things like that. When I've done trips, I've recorded days worth of footage, and you have to fit it into something that's palatable for YouTube. So I thought he did a superb job. Yeah, there were some technical things that I personally would have changed about it, but the content itself I think was spot on. So Bjorn_Wad has asked, hi, I was wondering if you could talk about why you went for the 14060M 2-line versus a 4-line. I really like the look of the 4-line. I think the 4-line is actually a better looking watch than the 2-line. My challenge was that the 4-line, whenever I looked at it, it reminded me too much of my Submariner, my Kermit Submariner date. Because of the 4-line, the only difference was obviously the green bezel, but the date window was just missing. So that was too much of a connection. I liked the 2-line version because I went with the 2-line version because this is me. This is it. Let's go. Basically, I went for the 2-line version because it had a more vintage feel than the 4-line version. I had a 5513 before, which I loved the look of, but it wasn't just particularly suitable for everyday use for me. So that's pretty much the reason. This is crazy. I have like a whole cubicle to myself here. It's absolutely nuts. The nicest seat that I've had on an aircraft so far is when you pay for the extra legroom on economy. So this is absolutely crazy. If this is the life of a watch journalist, then I might have to change careers. So Tyler J. Keenan has asked, imagine you could give your past self advice when you first launched your channel. So I guess the advice that I'd give myself would be to be more headstrong. When I started the channel, I really wanted it to work. I didn't know what I wanted it to be. I was very open to feedback, and I read all the comments that were being said, and if people said do this, do that, you should try this, don't do that, don't do this, and I took them all on board, and that kind of changed things, and I ended up trying to please everyone. And when you try and please everyone, you end up being kind of becoming a nothing, because you don't have something that you actually stand for. You're trying to change things to please everyone, and that ended up with the channel, me actually disliking some of the videos that I made, and the channel becoming something that I didn't really want it to be. I realised that, and I pulled it back, and now I just do what I want to do. And my mindset is, if you dislike what I do, then that's totally cool. There's millions and millions of people on YouTube, and there will be some people who like what I do. Equally, there are lots of watch channels on YouTube, and so if you dislike what I do, then there are plenty of other outlets for people to follow. So my advice to myself would be more headstrong, listen to feedback, take it on board, but that doesn't mean you have to change to do that. If people dislike what you do, it's okay. I'm not going to lie, the customer service and experience on this thing is insane. I don't know how much this flight ticket is worth, and I am in no way flexing here, showing what's going. I have not paid for anything on this trip, and it will all make sense in a couple of days. Maybe next week it'll make sense. Experiencing how the other half live is nice, but it'll be funny to go back to. I've got a trip to New York just after this one, 3 days after this one, and I'll be flying economy class again, and it'll suck. I've been trying to sleep, but I really can't. I just can't switch off. My body clock is 6 p.m. My body clock's 6 p.m. So it's far too early to sleep. The local time, well, the time in Dubai is 9 p.m. The time in Shanghai is something like I think it's 1 a.m. So my body clock's going to be all messed up. We're currently flying at 41,000 feet. We're traveling at 562 miles an hour, which is quite amazing for a machine this large. This is an Airbus A380, so it's a huge machine. I'm Scott Slade. Oris or Nomos? What would you spend your money on, history versus in-house movement? Well, I think the challenge there is the styling. I'm much more of an Oris person as opposed to Nomos person. Their design kind of signatures are really very different. Nomos is out and out Bauhaus styling, and that's really not my thing. I do like Nomos. I do like their styling, and I do like their watches, but they're just not my kind of thing. Oris is very much my style. The Divers 65 is really a very good watch. I think their Great Barrier Reef stuff, the more capable dive watches that they have, are good watches, but they're not really my thing. I do like the vintage tone that the Divers 65 had. So for me, it wouldn't be a matter of history versus in-house, simply because their design languages are really very different. I feel more of a connection to Oris, and I just prefer their styling. So that would be my choice. So I've made it to Dubai, and it is pretty damn hot. Really humid, and for some reason I just hadn't thought about the temperature change, the climate change from Glasgow to Dubai. So I'm wearing a long sleeve top, quite heavy trousers. Bad choices. Anyway, I found some watches. I've found the watch place. Exactly like back home, everything's just Datejust and precious metals. There was one sports watch, and that was a diamond encrusted Yachtmaster. Crap everywhere. Anyway, next flight, Shanghai. So I made it to China. I'm in Shanghai, and I have had 2, maybe 3 hours sleep in the past 24. I'm feeling pretty rough. The idea of business travel, it always sounds glamorous. When you actually do it, you feel like shit. It's the most unglamorous thing there is. It's in business class, was just nuts. It was really very cool. Amazing customer service, good food. That kind of made the journey a bit more manageable, but still feel like crap. So I've made it to Shanghai, and it's quite late. It's 1 o'clock. My idea is not to get too adjusted to the time zone here, because I'm going to be leaving soon. I kind of want to reduce my jet lag, so I don't want to go to bed yet. I'm not tired anyway. I'm buzzing actually. Although the whole place has kind of shut down. This is the financial district over here, and nearly all the lights are off. This was completely illuminated earlier. I'll put some shots in from my iPhone. So I shared a taxi from the airport to the hotel with a journalist for GQ, and I was asking him, is this business class, nice hotel, malarkey standard? Is this what everyone puts on? He's like, yeah, this is just how it is. So it's quite crazy how pampered all these. I guess they have to be, otherwise they probably wouldn't come. I don't know, but there's obviously a lot of pampering going on. There's a chap from Houdinki here. I haven't spied him. The restaurant was really quite darkly lit, so I need to go figure that out. Anyway, it's epically humid here. The lens keeps it's steaming up, so if I go very soft focus, I'm not trying to make any sort of romantic film. It's just incredibly humid. I've just had a shower and already I feel like I'm covered in sweat. It's quite horrible. And this place feels like it's a scene from Ghostbusters or something, with all the smog descending on the city, and the city with most of its lights out. For example, over here you can see all the skyscrapers are covered in all the smog. Ancrap416 has said, great channel, thanks buddy. Any platforms you know of to buy and sell watches between watch lovers? Yes, I've not done this myself, but I know a good few people who buy and sell on forums, and they only deal on forums. I'm not going to go so far as saying it's safe, but the kind of safeguard around buying and selling on forums is if anyone's pissing about, then that person's reputation is going to get destroyed and they will kind of be blacklisted within the forum. So you've kind of got the community's kind of power behind you to make sure that what's going on is legit. That's not to say that it is completely safe, but check out forums. Find a forum in your area and deal with that. I think that's probably the safest thing to do. NATO Time has asked, as of right now, which watch is getting the most wrist time? Well, I haven't got it on with me now, but it's my Submariner 14060M. I'm wearing it a lot simply because I'm enjoying the freedom of Scotland, of being able to wear whatever the hell I want and not feeling restricted. Whereas in London, you kind of got to be aware of what you're wearing and kind of be aware of your surroundings and so on. So yeah, I'm enjoying the Submariner and the fact that I can just wear it and enjoy it. Right now I'm wearing my Grand Seiko, the Quartz GMT, and it is epically useful being able to just use the GMT function. I can just glance at my hand. I don't have to calculate the time zone back home, GMT +1. I can just glance at my hand and it tells me the time. Really very useful. Mervin_Ling has said, would you choose vintage Patek, Calatrava or Explorer 1? For right now, I think the Explorer 1 suits me down to the ground. I really enjoy the watch. It's still my favourite watch, so I would take an Explorer 1 over a Calatrava. I think the Calatrava is a far better looking watch, and obviously a far superior watch, but styling wise, it's just, it's not me for right now. I will own a Calatrava at some point, but just, yeah, maybe in 10 years time. Jason Hoop 70 has asked, lots of £500 or £1,000 watches versus 2 times £3,000 plus watches. So essentially, lots of cheap watches or a couple of expensive watches. I think that is a bit of a cop-out answer, but I think that is purely down to the person, the buyer. What's going to bring you more joy? Is a handful of cheaper watches, more affordable watches, going to bring you more joy than having a couple of higher-end watches? For me, for a couple of reasons, I'd much prefer to go down the route of having 1 or 2 higher-end watches. I just think that for me, I enjoy the refinement of the higher-end watch, and also I like the idea of having a small collection. I think I'm probably at the limit of how many watches I want in my collection. I need some chocolate. It is so humid. Finally found a shop and I finally found some chocolate. We've got water and M&Ms. Now I'm going to go back to the hotel. Guys, I hope you like this video. Slightly different Q&A video to normal, but I thought, I wanted to share this journey with you guys. One, because it's been a laugh so far. It's only been bloody like 24 hours or something. I'm off to New York 3 days after this trip finishes, so hopefully that'll be fun as well. Going to the Global Red Bar event. So yeah, anyway, if you like this sort of stuff, hit the thumbs up button. I'll be doing another Q&A video next Tuesday, so go check me out on Instagram at BarkandJack and look out for the story post where you can ask questions. Thanks to everyone who has asked questions today. Sorry I didn't get around to everyone. Internet in China is pretty ropey, and so I lost a lot of data. So hopefully I can answer more questions next time. Hit that subscribe button down the bottom and the bell icon so you get notifications. Go check out our NATO straps at barkandjack.shop. Check out our articles and old videos at barkandjack.com. Look out for the new article about what's going to be released tomorrow. Should be pretty cool. Anyway guys, I will see you next time. Take care.